Hello, hello, everyone. We're going to be doing a three pile pick a pile with the turning point in mind. We're going to be looking at what choice or moment is quietly asking for your attention, the shadow influence, what fear, pattern, or wound is complicating this choice, the soul push, what your higher self is nudging you towards, the consequence, what might shift when you choose differently, and the integration key, what tool, practice, or mindset will support this transition. We're also going to add in a little quote from your higher self. So this would be 1, 2, and 3. Think of which pile you feel drawn to. And we're going to get started. Okay. Okay, so the threshold. What choice or moment is quietly asking for your attention? Pile 1, connection. What choice or moment is quietly asking for your connection? If this pile is for you, we are looking at some kind of relation in your life that needs attention. There's a decision or a conversation or a perspective that is needed. What is the shadow influence? What fear, pattern, or wound is complicating this choice? 8 of Cups in reverse. Should I stay or should I go? Should I do this or should I do that? It's like you're choosing between two things, and there's going to be a before and an after. Things won't stay the same after whatever this decision is, and it feels like there may be some avoidance or resistance to making it, not because of the decision or the choice in and of itself, but because there's a before and there's an after. It's not necessarily the decision or choice you fear so much as it is change, it feels like, if this pile is for you. What is the soul push? What is your higher self nudging you towards? Your higher self is nudging you towards what's missing. The high priestess in reverse is secrecy. What's being avoided? What's not being talked about? What's being swept under the rug? Why? Why do we want to avoid that? Why is that particular topic difficult? Your higher self is nudging you towards the fact that your higher self is trying to point out to you what's missing. Is your joy missing? Is your excitement missing? Is your intuition being ignored? Is your emotions absent? Is your inner voice silent? Because this kind of feels like your intuition has been like, hey, listen to this. Hey, listen to this. Hey, listen to this. And you haven't been. So now your intuition's like, all right, I'm going to step back and let you see for yourself so that you can finally make this decision. The consequence, what might shift when you choose differently? You'll take back your power. King of Wands, King of Action. Uh, it's almost like it's a decision that you're going to question it until you make it. And then once you make it, you're like, oh, cool. Like, not as internally earth-shattering as you expect it because it's putting you back in your power. So even if there's emotions, you're like, "Oh, I see those emotions, but I have more power over them. I'm the one with the power, not them. I see them, but they're over there. I see them, but I'm in charge. I see them, but they're not gonna tsunami me into drowning." Will it still be hard? Yes, but choose your hard. This is like, you wanna choose the hard where you take back your power and you feel like something's hard because you made a hard decision in your power? Or do you wanna choose your hard and feel powerless and feel like, "Oh, I'm sitting here feeling sad and not in my power?" Choose your hard. The integration key, what tool, practice, or mindset will support this transition? Page of Wands in reverse. What parts of yourself are you losing to stay where you're at, or to stay silent or complacent or small or dim? Identify it. If nothing else, if this pile is for you and you're still sitting here like, I don't really know if I'm ready to make this choice, this change, to have this conversation. That's fine. All I want you to do, if you can't do that, is sit here and say to yourself, this is the part of me that I am choosing to lose because of the situation I'm in. I'm I'm silencing this version of myself. Just identify it and sit with it. Like that's all your higher self is asking you to do right now, if nothing else. Behind every strong person is a story that gave them no choice. Choose your hard. Either way, it's going to be hard. Do you want hard and not in your power? Or do you want hard because you took back your power? That is the question here. Okay, pile two. Pile two, the threshold. What choice or moment is quietly asking for your attention? Ace of Cups. It's like you're sitting on a gold mine. You're sitting on a gold mine and you're being directed to realize what you have in your pocket or what you have in your mind or you have in your heart. It's like you've been given this light and it's finally been dark enough to some degree where you can really see the impact this light could have. Now, what is this shadow influence? What fear, pattern, or wound is complicating this choice? Decision versus indecision. You have this light. What are you going to do with it? You're sitting on this gold mine. What are you going to create with it? You have this idea. How are you going to action it? This kind of feels like the shadow influence is analysis paralysis. Okay, I have all of these decisions I could make, so I'm not really actioning any of them because I'm trying to figure out which one is the best. It feels like if this is for you, you have the awareness of something that could work in your favor, but you're stuck in analysis paralysis. Like, what do I do with it? I see it, but what do I do with it? So, what's the soul push? What is your higher self nudging you towards? Reparenting. High Priestess in reverse. Are you solid in your decision making or do you feel like you need an outside approval or a thumbs up? Are you giving yourself, are you filling your cup enough right now that you could pour out, or are you pouring from empty because you're overgiving or overextending? Boundaries, are they in place? Are they allowing you to still live while they're in place? Um, Empress in reverse. What's your relationship right now with your creativity and your flow state? Are you overthinking your flow state? Okay. The soul push. What is your higher self nudging you towards? Higher self is like, "Hey, how much are you overthinking your flow state?" Cuz you have something and if you just flow, it'll come out. How much are you overthinking, overanalyzing, or over observing? Maybe not over observing is the right word, but like observing without action. It's great to observe and be in observer mode. Get that bird's eye view of what's going on, what needs to happen. Are you taking action though, or are you being stuck in that state of, okay, now I have all these choices. Let me just overanalyze all of them and not do any. Take any action is how this feels. Because if you take an action from a place of a full cup and self-nurturement, it might not get you where you need to go ultimately, but it's going to help create movement. What is the consequence? What might shift when you choose differently? Emotional numbness will ease up. It's almost like right now you're stuck in a state of intellectualizing your emotions, but being in flow state with your emotions is what helps bring out that holy grail, that manifestation, that change, that gold mine that you're sitting on, so to speak. But right now you're intellectualizing or over analyzing your emotions, and the what might shift when you choose differently, when you don't overanalyze them or intellectualize them and you create a balance with that and feeling them, you get into a flow state and things start flowing. things start coming in, changes start happening. Maybe things will fall away that you didn't necessarily want to, but because other things are happening that are showing alignment, you will know that whatever is falling away is too for the sake of alignment. The integration key. What tool, practice, or mindset will support this transition? Planning. Two of Wands, there's two people with the world in their hand, the masculine and feminine within you. If you balance out the masculine, feminine within, the world is in your hands. If you balance out feeling and doing, if you balance out observing and emoting, if you balance out me time versus the world time, if you balance out work and play, if you balance out learning and relaxing. Like, if you find that balance, the world is in your hands, it puts you back in that flow state. You don't need to figure out every next step. You just need to figure out what steps you need to take to get back into a state of flow. That's it. You don't need to have A through Z planned out of what you're going to do. You just need to say, this is what I need to remove to get into a state of flow. What's the quote from your higher self? Yeah, that makes sense. If you always think your happiness is somewhere else, it will never be where you are. Happiness is a choice you make in the moment. I am putting myself into a state of flow. I am accepting that anything that's happening right now is happening to advance me to the next stage, which is the next step closer of where I need to be. So I need to be happy for where I am right now, because without it, I'd be missing a step and I'd fall or be more likely to fall. Pile 3. Okay, pile 3, the threshold. What choice or moment is quietly asking for your attention? Knight of Cups. I don't just want to go self-love because that just feels too obvious. Depth. What choice or moment is quietly asking for your attention? You're on the surface of something and you're being asked to swim deeper. You're being asked to swim deeper because the external is a reflection of the internal, and you have reached a deeper depth within. You need to solidify that in some way by some kind of external depth. Even if it makes you feel a little tongue-tied or out of your element, it's like it's supposed to. When you're swimming in deeper waters, you're supposed to be aware that it's deeper. My feet don't touch the ground like they used to here. I'm aware of that. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like before that would happen and you'd be like, "Oh, I can't touch the bottom. Let me go back to where it's safe." What moment is quietly asking for your attention to not do that, not to go back to where your feet can touch, but trust that you now have the ability to swim or float, whatever, or get in a life raft, whatever you want to do. The shadow influence. What fear, pattern, or wound is complicating this choice? Temperance in reverse is like the shadows blocking your light. You know, when you're becoming someone you've never been before and you're shedding layers of yourself that weren't you and you're meeting these deeper versions of yourself, it's going to bring out shadows because the shadows were what was blocking the light from being truly reflected. So the shadows rising to the surface isn't a sign you're doing anything wrong. It's a sign you've peeled back another layer and there's another layer to face so you can get to another deeper layer. Like an onion, I peel away this layer, there's another. I peel away this layer, there's another. In between all these layers, there's energy. These energies, sometimes there's shadows there. So it's not you're doing something wrong if there's a shadow coming up. Sometimes it's just that you peeled away a layer and now you're transmuting it. So, what fear, pattern, or wound is complicating this choice? Yeah, you're facing things now that you buried before, but because you have the wisdom, the discernment, the knowledge, the skill set to do it now. That's why it's coming back, not because you were wrong before, but because it wasn't time then. You didn't have the tools. Now you do. The soul push, what your higher self is nudging you towards. We have Knight of Cups and Page of Cups facing one another with Temperance in reverse in the middle. This is an abandonment wound. The threshold. What moment or choice is quietly asking for your attention? What fear, pattern, or wound is complicating the choice? The page and the knight are facing a shadow. You are the depth that you're seeking is yourself. It doesn't matter who abandons you as long as you don't abandon yourself. And you are being asked right now to go into a deeper level of yourself. You're being asked to see yourself with more depth. And that is going to bring up the shadows you buried. That is not because you're doing something wrong. That is because those shadows have been waiting at that depth until you could swim deep enough to reach them. And now you can. Now you have a snorkel. Now you have the ability to hold your breath long enough. Now you have the ability to not panic when you're underwater that deep. Whatever it is, your higher self is nudging you towards you're not a this is proof. If you're going to be shown, hey, you're not going to abandon yourself anymore, that's not going to really sink in unless you have an opportunity where it would have been easier to abandon yourself and you chose not to. Now you know. Now you know you can do hard things. Now you know you can face the shadow. If you weren't given the opportunity to face it, how would you know that you're overcoming it? That's all this is. You're being asked to swim in deeper waters of yourself so that you can show yourself that you're no longer abandoning yourself when things get hard or scary. The consequence, what might shift when you choose differently? It may be hard. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse is things taking not so great of a turn. But then you continue to push the wheel and move it forward. It's a circle, not a square. You can continue to push it. If it's not going good right now and the top of the circle's at the top of the picture, that's fine. Just push it until it's back at the bottom. It's a wheel. You have to go through this. The only way out is through. The only way out is through is this picture. The only way to the page and the knight, the only way to the king and queen of cups, the mastery of your emotions, is facing this shadow and saying, okay, the wheel might be upside down right now, but I can keep pushing it. What might shift when you choose differently? You might find that you're able to face the shadow and keep pushing instead of seeing the shadow and running away because you're no longer abandoning yourself. The integration key. What tool, practice, or mindset will support this transition? I mean, the devil in reverse. Do I even need to say anything? Um, your shadows don't defeat you, even when they are causing chaos, world upside down feeling, whatever, they still don't win. And this is solidified by the fact it's under temperance in reverse. The light may be temporarily harder to see, but if you make it a little bit darker, you'll remember how bright that light actually is. And then you'll realize you don't need to be scared of the dark because the light that's protecting you is coming from within. So no matter how dark it is externally, you'll always have that headlamp, so to speak. What's the quote from your higher self? Fear is a source of energy. Anger is a source of energy. Frustration is a source of energy. Use them as fuel. Let them be your royal servants. Tamed emotions can be used to your advantage. Yeah, I don't even have anything to add. That was perfect little post-it note from your higher self. So when you okay, I'll add something anyway because that's what I do. When you feel those emotions, you can use the energy to run from them, or you can stand there and face them and use that energy then as currency for something else. So you're either you're getting you face this shadow and you get $100 bill. It's going to cost you $89 to get on the train to get away from that shadow as fast as you can. You have $11 left. Enjoy the rest of your day. Or you can not get on the train. You can stand there and face it. And then you have $100 to do whatever you want with. You can spend your energy money however you want. But you're giving up a majority of it to try and run from the wound. You're no longer doing that. You're keeping your energetic currency because you're no longer abandoning yourself. Hope that helps. I will talk to you all soon.